Hey guys, so I've tried to film this a few times, but because I'm in the hospital, if somebody comes in, I always stop it because I obviously want to let the professionals do their job. So hopefully this time's the charm. This video is going to be a little heavier just because of the fact that we're talking about the mental health struggles that kind of come along with this, at least that I've experienced. It's really interesting because getting cancer gives you a lot of perspective that you wouldn't have otherwise, and that's both a blessing and a curse. Um, we're talking a little more about some of the curse, at least with the journey right now. Maybe I'll do something a little more about the long-term changes that it brings to my mental state in the future, but it's going to take time for me to figure that out. Just like I keep finding new side effects, I don't know how I'm going to feel at the end of this journey and if it's going to be similar to how I feel now, but we're going to see. So part of the excitement. I am constantly told by people that I have such a good attitude. They love my positivity regarding this and that they think that this is great. And it kind of feels, I get a little bit of imposter syndrome with it. I feel like I'm living a little bit of a lie because, yes, I do try to have a positive attitude, but I can't always have that. And disclosure, one of the first things I did, because I've been doing this whole, 2024 was all about getting my health figured out. Literally, part of that was figuring out my mental health. So I got diagnosed. Even though I kind of already knew I had all of these, we found out that I have ADHD, I have very severe anxiety, and I have depression. Or I should be saying I am prone to all of those, as they're not me. They are elements of my life that I have to figure out, but they are a part of me, and they do not define me themselves. Also, pretty sure that I am autistic to some extent. I've been peer reviewed. When I was a kid, from what I understand, they were trying to diagnose me with Asperger's, which is now a defunct term, so that doesn't matter, but more for an educational purpose, because we were trying to get me special accommodations at school, but they just couldn't because because they said it was like the fact that I was able to empathize, I was emotionally mature, which, again, that doesn't mean anything in regards to not having some kind of autistic or being personality, I should say. Then again, not important, but yeah, obviously I experience the world a little different than other people, and we're all on that spectrum to some extent. This isn't an autism education video, so obviously, but the point being, I've been kind of on this journey to try to discover who Matt is, to learn how to love him in a way that I think he's always deserved, and that maybe I've fallen short on. And so, lo and behold, when the cancer diagnosis came in, it hit hard. It really hit hard. Like, to think I was getting my life together, I was working so hard to get my life to where I wanted it, and I felt like I was getting it to a point where I was feeling really good about it. It wasn't perfect, and there was still a lot I wanted to do, but at least I was getting to a point where I was happy and I wasn't just existing anymore. And for this to come in, it was like a bowling ball that just knocked down all the pins I had worked so hard to set up. Nobody prepares you for nobody can prepare you for getting a diagnosis like this. My first thought when I got it was, this is it. This is the final curtain. And thankfully, things have changed. For every night there's been a day, every low there's been a high. And the big thing was, though, with all of that mental health work, I had really worked on allowing myself to feel. To allow myself to feel those negative emotions, to allow myself to feel everything in the moment and not try to suppress or repress. And yeah, it has been crazy. Like, there's been a lot of very difficult feelings associated with this. Some of it is, people telling me that I have to be strong, I have to keep a good face for my family, for everybody around me, while that's a given, it feels like it puts extra pressure on me to just say I'm happy when I'm not. And I know it's not meant that way, but it's hard not to take it that way. Apart from that, people telling me I'm not alone, but at the same time, I am. Like, I can have people alongside me as I go through this journey, but they don't get to go through the journey for me, and nor do I want them to. Mom has told me multiple times that if she could, she would take the cancer for me, and to which I very quickly say, I would not want that. I don't want anybody else to have to suffer on my part. And while we're on that topic, guilt. There's been a lot of guilt that I've been feeling. Not guilt as in like, well, of course, I had to get cancer, and so now I'm the reason everybody's going to have to struggle, and it's all my fault. Cancer just happens, unfortunately. Like, I asked the doctor multiple questions of, could this have caused it? Maybe I did this. And she's like, I'm going to stop you. You did nothing. It just happens. It's part of the reason why I really never had a feeling of, this is so unfair, why me? There's just nothing with it that's made me feel that way, because I understand it just happens. Your cells sometimes mutate, and bad stuff happens. It's just like how, you just can't predict it. But, yeah. I feel guilty watching my family have to rearrange their lives. I feel guilty watching them have to inconvenience themselves financially to help with this. And again, please, no money. No money for them. Gifts are more than welcome. I'm not going to speak for any of them. They will take whatever there is, but we've got that. It makes it feel it's hard to feel this and watch everybody have to go through this. Even though I know, were the roles reversed, I would do the same thing in a heartbeat. Although I will say the one thing that does bring up is gift guilt, oddly enough. My dad told me this really touching story. So basically, my dad's a teacher, and his teaching aide had heard about what's going on with me, and she came to him after class and gave him money, not because they needed help, but because of the fact that she had a grandson who also had cancer and tragically passed from it. And she told him that she wanted me to have this money so that I could treat myself to something. And it really touched me. But it also made me feel really bad. Only because of the fact that it triggered a little bit of survivor's guilt, which, yeah, I'm still dealing with it, so maybe to say survivor's guilt is a weird thing, but just the fact that I'm here today and he doesn't get to be, it's hard to grapple with. And then on top of that, I heard apparently all of the other teachers took up a collection to help. You know, my family's been getting a lot of cards. They've been getting a lot. I think there's been edible arrangements. It's crazy to think all of this is happening because of something that happened to me. And at a more negative time, and I really don't want anybody to think that this is a pointed comment by any means, but in negative moments, there's part of me that feels like I don't talk to a lot of people that regularly. I don't, when I post, I don't get tons of reactions, which is fine because there's more to life than social media. But I get sick and suddenly I'm the center of attention, and it's like, as everybody, as a lot of you know, I am a performer at heart, and I love being the center of attention to some extent, obviously. I want that to be in a healthy way and not like a cry for help kind of way, but, in darker moments, I've caught myself thinking, oh, so the only way that I am worthy of attention is I have to get sick to do it. And again, no. Like, it's very clear that's not the way to go about it. But it's confusing. And I know I want to work harder after this to find my audience, to find the people who I can inspire, to find the people who I can show that I am, not even that I have nothing to prove, but really the people who I can help uplift. Apart from being in art and loving that, I love uplifting people and making their lives better, even if it's temporary. I like motivating people. I enjoy showing people that things may be tough, but that they do get better. I mean, in hell, right now, I think we need that much more in this world than we ever did before. We need community. We need people who can motivate others and show them that this is a hard fight we have, but that it's worth having. And it's part of the reason why every day, even on the bad ones, I get up and I keep going. I just feel like I have so much to do and that I really haven't been able to. And that's part of the whole thing with this project that I hinted at in the first video that I'm working on. Because it almost felt like I've been wasting my life to this point. Even though the outpouring of love shows just the opposite. Because if I can touch just one life while I'm on this earth and make a difference on it, then that alone is success. And I already know I've done that. And it's partially because of that I try to give myself a little bit more understanding and grace with this. And, one other thing I'll say is the thought about how, I have to get sick in order to get attention. Well, life's busy. Everybody, unfortunately, just the way that our culture has gone, we're all kind of wrapped up in ourselves, and that's not anybody's fault. It just, unfortunately, is the way things are. And maybe it's a sign that we all need to work on getting back to one another in one way, shape, or form. The other thing that I'll say in response to that comment of life's busy is nothing's been stopping me from actually reaching out and trying to have these relationships. Like, It takes two to tango, and, well, I haven't exactly been the best dance partner myself. Then, it's motivation. Like, I think one thing that I've really been taught from this is I really want to focus less on trying to achieve success, though that's going to be very important. Maybe a better way of saying it actually is I want my success to include fostering these relationships, learning or getting back in touch with the people in my life who I miss, spending time with them, finding ways to be a part of their lives and to have them be a part of mine. Like, again, this feeling of I have to get sick to get attention, I don't think for a second that's the case. And apparently, I was talking to my friend Brenda, who had a very similar experience. I won't give all the details because it's not my story to tell, but a situation where she got sick as well and was in the hospital, and she had the exact same thought. Apparently, it's a very common feeling. When it comes to I got a text message and completely just got thrown off my chain, or my train of thought. Shoot. But, it's a very common feeling among people, not even cancer patients, but people who are sick like that. It's just like the feeling of I've been so wrapped up in all these tiny things, work, financial stuff, all valid, personal life, all valid concerns, but I've been giving them way too much space in my mind. And I need to understand that while they're important and they have to be taken care of, and it's okay to be stressed about them, grand scheme, they're not that big. And at least, if nothing else, while no less important, they are valid and valid, they are easily dealt with. It's challenging just trying to think about that. But again, there's good perspective that's come with this. Just today, I'm sitting in my hospital bedroom and I'm on the 9th floor of the apartment, so I've got a great view of the sky and the tree lines. And as I was eating my breakfast, I just looked out and was like, even with the overcast weather, it's beautiful today. You really learn to take the small stuff and notice it and not take it for granted. Like the feelings again of maybe feeling alone. You understand, like, I'll admit the other thing with this, when I got that diagnosis, I didn't want to hold grudges anymore. I have the people that I definitely am angry with, that they have failed me in one way, shape, or form, and maybe it's a two-way street. Like, I'm not going to sit here and start casting stones like I am without flaw. I mean, if I was perfect, do you think I would have got cancer? Jokes aside. Yeah. What it's teaching me is that I want to be around people who love me and people who I love. And that's very doable. It gives me something to work towards, but on top of that, it makes me want to give back. I really want to get involved in some way, shape, or form. And again, part of that's going to come to the project that I'll talk about at a later date. But in the meantime, once better, I'm probably going to look into volunteering. I had been doing it before, just as a way to meet people, but now on top of that, to really join something where I feel like I'm part of something bigger than myself. I just know that with this project that I want to do, I want to also take a leadership role. I don't want to be just some nameless grunt, which, to be fair, no hate on the nameless grunts. Now more than ever, we're going to need all the nameless grunts that we can. And I doubt you're going to be a nameless grunt. Let's be fair. It's just me having being a Leo and having a slightly inflated sense of self-worth. But, yeah. I think we really all need to start focusing on finding ways we can help one another. Because ultimately, that's where the happiness comes from. When you can see the smile that you put on someone's face, or the new perspective that you can give them in just a conversation that you have, it makes all the difference. I joke because I say I'm going to get a fake beard, like a fake long sage beard that I can put on, and I'm going to call myself the Cancer Sage whenever I do that, because I feel like having cancer has made me very philosophical. But, it's an interesting journey no matter what, and any good journey has its ups and downs. As I'm constantly telling people when I'm trying to give them a pep talk, we're all diamonds. We just have to have that heat and pressure applied to us so that we can take the form that we need to be in. I have to believe that as well. I don't want to look at this experience as an experience that made me weaker. I want it to be the experience that really helped me get motivated to get my life in the direction that I want. And I am determined. And maybe that's the positive attitude that everybody keeps referring to. I know that I'm not alone, even though I did say that earlier. I understand that this is a journey that only I can go on, and that there are others who are going to be going on their own journeys that are adjacent to this. But I also understand that even if I do have to go on this alone, I can do it. And I think it also helps now that literally as of next Thursday, I will be done with round 1. So everything will just be a repeat of what was going on before. Minus some of the stuff we had to do as well. There won't be the chaos of trying to do last-minute scheduling. Hopefully, there's going to be limited procedures. Unfortunately, the most unpleasant one, the lumbar puncture, is inevitably, it's inevitably going to be done a few more times, which, but, all in the name of getting better. So, just got to keep doing it one moment at a time. And if that means I've got to take a moment and just have a very quick cry that I wipe away, or if I have to excuse myself and go into a room and just sob for a little while, then I give myself permission to do that, because I need to have those lows in order to really enjoy those highs. But on that note, my phone is about to die, so I probably got to wrap this up. So, I know this was a lot to cover. I know this might be a pretty dark video. I'm sure, if what I said made you think that I felt ungrateful for you reaching out, please understand, it is not the case. Your love and support means a lot. And it really is so eye-opening to me. But I also want you guys to know that if you're worried about me with this, I'm going to be okay. And I know I'm going to be okay. even if I was going through this alone, I've done things alone before, so I can do that. But luckily this time, at least I have people who can watch me go through the journey and help to pick me up when I'm feeling down. And that's enough. I have people who are going to be stopping by the hospital at some point today just to see me. And that really means a lot to me. So, I'll be okay. I know I will. And I will appreciate anything that anybody says. I will appreciate that any gifts or anything that's sent to me or my family is sent as a way of feeling like, or of helping people to feel like they're helping, which I can relate to. Nothing like sitting there and feeling helpless while somebody that you care about is going through a lot. So when that was explained to me that way, that made it a lot easier for me to feel less guilty about it. And that's something I'm going to work on in general, just feeling less guilt and understanding that everyone's doing the best they can. And that's all we can do. So, I make the promise to you that I'm going to keep doing the best I can. I love all of you. I seriously do, from the bottom of my heart.